Originally, I grew up in Florida, like Central Florida. Parents were both pseudo-creatives. Mom was a writer. My dad was a musician. My grandmother had worked for years with, ironically, Burt Reynolds, if you kind of adjacent Burt Reynolds theme. So she worked with him on a number of films and was the head of his production studio, Burt Reynolds Productions. And she ran the Burt Reynolds Dinner Theater in Jupiter, Florida for a number of years, in which my father did audio there. My mom was an apprentice for a while and then was a producer. But yeah, so that's where it started. So lived in Central Florida, lived in what was essentially West Palm Beach, the poorer side of West Palm Beach, because we lived on the other side of the tracks. And my parents definitely kind of didn't have a lot of money, and they worked really hard just to ensure that me and my brother had a really, really good upbringing. So I'm very thankful for that. But we've just moved from apartment to apartment almost every year. We've had kind of a very nomadic life, especially in Florida. And I lived there until I was about 8. My mother was hired on as a writer for Burt Reynolds Productions. My grandmother at the time was head of his production company called Burt Reynolds Productions. Very astute title. To work on Evening Shade, which was a show that he was doing in the early 90s. And that was enough for my family to just uproot and head to the West Coast. There wasn't a whole lot going for us in Florida. We'd kind of had not a lot of good financial prospects for a long time. And I think my family was looking forward to a new start. So we just did a little over a 2-week road trip across the U.S. in our van, the little U-Haul tracked behind us with what little we took with us, and made our way out to California. My mom did mainly story writing, scripts, a little bit of kind of playwriting, tinkering, but nothing that really took off. And she wrote a few episodes for Evening Shade and did some other work here and there. Unfortunately, a lot of the projects she worked on didn't quite come to fruition in the later years, and there are reasons beyond her control for that. My dad raised me on Beatles and Pink Floyd, and Moody Blues, Alan Parsons Project, everything in that realm of music. So that was very much his specialty. But he played plenty of instruments, and growing up, every Christmas was him giving me some sort of instrument, me messing with it for a week and then going, nah, and then giving it to my brother, and then he would master it. So he became a musician too. And I was that one who couldn't quite find the interest of picking up an instrument. And it's kind of frustrating in hindsight, because I would love to have had that skill. And I appreciate what musicians do. And to this day, my dad's still a busker, for a living in Hawaii. So like, I really have a love for people that create music, but just wasn't something I think that was in the cards for me, unfortunately.